You call that a landing? My grandmother could do better, and she's just a pile of rocks. Sergeant Gale barked through the comms, eyeing the giant crater that now marred the once green field. The alien craft sat at the bottom, an enormous saucer-shaped vessel twisted and dented from what must have been the least graceful touchdown in history. The military had been on high alert for weeks since unidentified objects were spotted orbiting Earth. There were plenty of wild theories, rogue asteroids, secret government projects, or even wayward satellites, but the truth was far stranger and funnier. High above, the invaders from a distant star system had concocted what they believed was the perfect plan. Earth was, by their assessment, a gold mine of resources and poorly defended. Its gravity was a mild 1G, nothing they couldn't handle, or so they thought. The ship had plunged through the atmosphere like a stone. Despite the crew's best efforts to maintain control, its shields had shattered the moment they hit the thermosphere, and what followed was a series of increasingly frantic attempts to slow their descent. As the dust settled, Gale shook his head. Looks like gravity had other plans for them, he muttered, glancing at the group of soldiers around him. All right, you lot, let's go see what kind of squishy invaders came to pay us a visit. They approached cautiously, weapons ready but not exactly tense. To them, the whole situation already felt like a joke, one that they were about to be the punchline of. The craft's hull was pitted and scarred, bearing the marks of its brutal crash. With a hissing groan, a section of the ship split open, creating a jagged ramp that crunched into the earth. From the darkness within, a series of shadowy figures emerged. Sergeant Gale blinked, then snorted. "They're wearing stilts," he muttered. The aliens, tall and gangly, stumbled forward awkwardly on long mechanical exosuits designed to augment their stature and, as the humans soon realized, help them deal with Earth's gravitational force. The suits whined and creaked under the strain, betraying the fact that these invaders had vastly underestimated just how heavy things could get down here. "Welcome to Earth," Gale shouted, waving a hand in mock hospitality. "Did you enjoy your fall?" The lead alien, teetering precariously on its metal legs, turned its bulbous head toward the sergeant. Its voice, translated through a buzzing device strapped to its neck, came out as a warbled growl. "We demand your immediate surrender," it stammered, struggling to hold itself upright. Behind it, the others swayed in their suits, clearly fighting a battle just to stay vertical. "Right," Gale replied dryly. "Let's see how that goes for you." Private Harris, standing beside Gale, couldn't suppress a laugh. "They're barely holding it together, sir. I think our gravity's kicking their butt." "That's what you get for skipping leg day," another soldier quipped, eliciting a ripple of chuckles among the ranks. The aliens, however, were dead serious. One of them raised what appeared to be a weapon, a sleek metallic rod that immediately began to glow at its tip. It would have been an impressive show of force if it hadn't wobbled in the alien's grip, the creature fighting to keep both its arm and the weapon aimed at the humans. "Take cover," Gale ordered, but his voice carried more amusement than concern. He watched as the alien struggled, then finally lost its battle with gravity. Its knees buckled, and with a crunching thud, it collapsed face first onto the ground, the rod bouncing harmlessly away. The scene dissolved into chaos, but not the kind the aliens had anticipated. As more of them attempted to step forward, their legs wobbled and buckled under the crushing force of Earth's gravity. One by one, they toppled, arms flailing, suits groaning as they hit the ground with heavy, resounding thuds. "Looks like we've got ourselves an invasion of toddlers learning to walk," Harris remarked, struggling to contain his laughter. The lead alien, still face down in the dirt, grumbled incoherently before raising its head. "You humans cheat," it croaked. "Your planet is cursed." Gale stifled a laugh and walked forward, crouching down in front of the alien leader. "Not cursed, pal, just a bit more intense than you expected," he said, tapping the alien suit leg with the barrel of his rifle. "You guys really should have done your homework before dropping by uninvited." The alien, now propped up on its elbows, stared at the sergeant. "You will not prevail," it said. "We will adjust." "Adjust?" "Huh?" Gale said, standing up. "Well, while you're busy adjusting, we'll be here not breaking a sweat." He turned to his squad. "All right, boys, let's round them up and be out. They're having a rough day." The soldiers moved in, corralling the defeated invaders, who, despite their best efforts, couldn't seem to find their balance. The sight was almost pitiful. these supposed conquerors unable to even stand on their own 2 feet. Some of the aliens attempted to activate their weapons, only for their hands to tremble and drop the devices with each feeble attempt. You think they've got reinforcements coming? Harris asked as they herded the aliens into a makeshift holding area. Hal scratched his chin thoughtfully. If they do, they'll probably end up the same way. I mean, look at them. He gestured to the invaders now sitting in a sullen, defeated line on the ground. Gravity's our best defense. You can't invade a planet when you're too busy fighting to stand up straight. The lead alien finally managed to sit up, though it wobbled unsteadily. We underestimated it, it admitted through gritted mandibles. No kidding, Gale replied, crossing his arms. You see, it's not just the gravity here, it's the weather, the terrain, the critters. Everything on this planet is built to withstand some serious pressure. And you, he poked the alien suit leg again, you brought stilts to a tank fight. The alien leader glared but remained silent, its bulbous eyes narrowing in a mixture of frustration and resignation. The other aliens seemed equally demoralized. Their plans of invasion literally crushed by the one force they couldn't anticipate, Earth's relentless pull. Harris leaned over to Gale, whispering, "So what now? Do we call it in?" "Not yet," Gale replied, smirking. "Let's see if they have a plan B. I'm curious how they'll handle, say, climbing a hill." The soldiers chuckled, casting glances at the sprawling, forested mountains in the distance. If the aliens thought landing was hard, navigating Earth's rugged terrain would be the real test. The aliens sat in a dejected line on the grassy field, occasionally glancing up at the sky as if hoping for a miracle to whisk them away from Earth's crushing grip. Sergeant Gale paced back and forth, his eyes fixed on their captured guests. He could almost feel the gears turning in their heads as they processed the situation. These invaders weren't giving up, they were regrouping, thinking. And that's what worried him. "Sir," Harris spoke up, approaching with a report in hand. "Our scouts did a quick recon around the area. It looks like their ship's still operational, but they're not going anywhere fast. Engines are fried and, their landing left quite the impression." He pointed to the sizable crater behind them where the alien craft had embedded itself into the Earth. "Good. Keep an eye on them," Gale replied, not taking his eyes off the aliens. "They're plotting something. I can feel it." As if on cue, the lead alien finally moved, awkwardly shifting its weight to stand. The whine of its exosuit's motors indicated how much strain Earth's gravity still exerted on its frame. It wobbled but remained upright, casting a look of defiance toward the humans. "We have not surrendered," it hissed through the translator. The other aliens perked up, a murmur of resolve passing through their ranks. Despite their initial defeat, a fire still burned within them, one that gravity alone couldn't quench. Gale raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. "All right, tough guy. What's next? Another clumsy attempt to take over the planet while you can barely stay on your feet?" The alien's eyes narrowed, and it jabbed a spiny finger toward the nearby hills. "There," it said, wheezing slightly. "Test terrain. We will adapt." The sergeant smirked. "You sure about that? Climbing those hills is a challenge for even us, and we're used to this place." "We will prevail," the alien insisted, though it swayed on its mechanical legs. A few of its companions seemed ready to protest, but they fell silent under its determined glare. "Suit yourselves," Gale replied, shrugging. "We'll be right behind you in case you need a hand or a stretcher." The aliens formed a shaky line, their movements slow and laborious as they started toward the hills. The humans followed, maintaining a safe distance but staying close enough to intervene if things got out of hand. Gale had to admit, he was curious about how far the aliens would go to prove themselves. "Place your bets," Harris muttered as they walked. "How long before they collapse again?" Harris chuckled. "I'm giving them 10 minutes tops. Those hills are no joke." The aliens struggled forward, their exosuits groaning with effort as they tackled the uneven terrain. Every step was a battle, and every stumble drew snickers from the human soldiers. But to their credit, the invaders pressed on, driven by some stubborn sense of pride or desperation. "Tenacious little buggers," Gale muttered, watching as one particularly determined alien clawed its way up a steep incline. "I'll give them that," Harris nodded. "Yeah, but they're going to learn the hard way that Earth doesn't take kindly to quitters or invaders." As the aliens reached the crest of the hill, a gust of wind sent them teetering. One by one, they toppled, rolling back down the slope in a chaotic heap of limbs and exosuits. The humans burst into laughter, unable to contain themselves. Well, that was anticlimactic, Gale said, wiping a tear from his eye. He walked over to the pile of defeated aliens, who groaned and hissed in frustration. Ready to call it quits yet? The lead alien, now wedged awkwardly between two of its comrades, let out a defeated sigh. Your planet is impossible, it admitted. Gale chuckled, extending a hand to help the alien up. Yeah, it's a tough place. But if you're going to survive here, you'll have to learn to roll with the punches. The alien hesitated before taking the sergeant's hand, its bulbous eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and resentment. As it stood, wobbling slightly, Gale couldn't help but smirk. Welcome to Earth, buddy. It's not for the faint of heart.